with this. Hello everyone, I'm Luis Montes and today I'm going to read the chapter 12 of this story. As you know, the name of this book is Officially Dead, written by Richard Prescott. And in the last chapter, number 11, we saw that Mark Ashwood went to Julie's house to tell her about what he knows. But Julie is really worried because she thinks that he's lying. Oh, that is what I understood. So let's begin with this. The robbery. After Mac Ashwood's unexpected visit to Brentwood, it was clear to the Bentleys that John couldn't stay hidden in the house any longer. Linda found a cheap hotel for him in a suburb which was near central London, not far from the River Thames. The hotel was the kind of place where you paid in advance for your room and nobody asked you any questions. It was an old building and some of the windows had boards over them. On the ground floor, there was a small, ugly bar where people in cheap clothes sat drinking all day. John's room on the first floor was dark and dirty. The glass in the window was cracked. It was late on a Tuesday evening. John Bentley was excited and nervous. He and Linda sat in the cold hotel room waiting. There was a bottle of whiskey on the table beside the bed. John lifted the bottle to his lips and drank. For a few moments, he felt calm. Then the nervous excitement returned. This was the night. After tonight, he will be free forever. At 1:15 in the morning, John checked his things: a set of keys, a small torch, a pair of rubber gloves, a roll of adhesive tape, a small wooden box, a card shack, and his gun. He put the keys, the gloves, the torch, the tape, the gun in the pockets, and he put the jacket and the wooden container in his black sports bag. It's time to go, he told Linda. They got into the van and Linda drove it towards the center of London. The city streets were quiet. It took about 20 minutes to reach Sandals. The jewelry shop was a two-story building. The front of the shop was in a wide, busy shopping street, but there was a back door too. This door was in a quiet road where delivery trucks stopped. In this road, apart from back doors of shops, there were some offices and a bank, but there were no houses. One night, when they're late at night, Linda drove the van to the back of Sandwell's. She and John checked their watches. It was 1:35. Come back in exactly half an hour, John said. Then he got out of the van, carrying his sport bag, and he watched as Linda drove slowly away. Standing in the shadow of the shop's back door, John pulled on his rubber gloves. He took the set of keys from his pocket and unlocked the steel shutter that protected the door. Then he lifted the shutter and he used another key to open the door itself. Now he had 20 seconds to enter the correct code on the keypad of the shop's security system. If he failed, the alarm bells will ring here and in the nearest police station. John dropped his board back inside the door. Then he took the torch from his pocket and he turned it on. He ran along the corridor which led towards the front of the building. Halfway along the corridor, on the right, was a door to the manager's office, and on the wall outside there was the keypad. By the light from the torch, John quickly keyed in the six-figure code. Then he ran back along the corridor, pulled down the steel shutter, and locked it from the inside. Next, he closed and locked the door. John stood with his back against the door, breathing hard, his heart beating fast. Now he was safe for a while. He waited for a few moments. Then he picked up his poor bag and walked toward the front of the building again. The corridor led to the shop itself and to the stairs which went up to the workshop on the upper story. But halfway along the left, opposite Mr. Rose's office door, was the door to the strong room. In here, the shop's main stock was kept, as well as some very valuable stones which will be made into special pieces of jewelry in the workshop. Leaving his sport bag in the corridor, John turned to the door of the strong room. It was a heavy steel door with an electronic combination lock. John keyed in the correct code, pushed the door open, and entered the room. There were no windows in the strong room, so it would be safe to switch on the light. But first, John had to do something about the video camera which was fixed high on the wall above the door. Whenever the light wasn't inside the strong room, the camera sent pictures to a video recorder in the manager's office. John took off his coat and threw it over the camera so that it covered the lens. Only then did he turn on the light. The strong room was lined with shelves on 3 walls. Against the 4th wall next to the door was a steel cabinet with many drawers. Inside these drawers were the precious stones, as well as the most expensive pieces of jewelry that were displayed in the shop during the daytime. On the shelves around the strong room were boxes of good quality but somewhat less expensive pieces. John removed the boxes and carried them to the back door, piling them neatly, one on top of another. Then he returned to the strong room. In a corner, he found a large empty box. He put it on the table next to the steel cabinet. Then he removed the top 2 drawers, the drawers containing precious stones, from the cabinet and carefully placed them inside the empty box. He added a trace of extremely valuable rings, necklaces, and brooches from the lower drawers. When the box was full, he took the roll of adhesive tape from his pocket, sealed the box, and pulled it to the back door. Finally, he turned off the strong room light, pulled his coat down from the camera, and went out. He removed the drawers containing precious stones from the cabinet. You can see a picture of John covering the camera, and he's taking the pieces. Okay, the camera, and went out into the corridor, closing the door behind him. He reset the lock and he took the wooden box from his bag. He opened it and took out a piece of plastic explosive, which he passed on to the strong room lock, together with a detonator. He used the tape to keep the detonator and its timer in place. Next, John picked up his strong bag, removed the car jack, put the wooden box back in the bag, and went into the front of the shop. He held his torch in his mouth and opened 2 glass display cabinets with his keys. The cabinets contained some good pieces of jewelry, and he threw the contents into his bag. Finally, he relocked the cabinets and used the car jack to small the glass. Then he took the sport bag to the back door and put it on a pile of boxes. He checked his watch. It was 5 minutes to 2. There was no time to lose. He had another 10 minutes before Linda returned with a van. John ran up the stairs to the workshop, holding the car jack in his hand. There was a skylight in the roof which was locked from the inside, and below the skylight was a grid of metal bars. John stood on a chair. He took his car jack and pushed it between the two central bars of the grill. He turned the jack's lug handle quickly, forcing the bars apart. Soon the gap between them was wide enough for a man to climb through. He removed the jack and used it to small the skylight's glass and lock. He opened the skylight. John hurried downstairs to the strong room door, still carrying the jack. He checked his watch. It was 2:05. Linda should arrive at any moment. He set the timer of the detonator and ran along the corridor. He leaned against a wall and waited, breathing hard, wiping the sweat from his face with the back of his hand. After a minute, he heard a small explosion. He ran back to the strong room door. The lock had been deployed. At that moment, he heard a van stop outside the back door of the shop. He unlocked and opened the door. Then he unlocked and lifted the shutter. Linda had parked the van just outside and had opened its back doors. John and Linda worked quickly, lifting the boxes from the corridor and sliding them into the back of the van. When they had loaded the boxes, John threw his jack and his sport bag. He closed the door. Then he rushed back inside the keypad and reset the alarm code while Linda started the van. Immediately, the alarm started ringing. The noise was terrible, and it seemed to fill the empty street. John ran back outside, closed and locked the back door of the shop, pulled down the shutter and locked that. Then he jumped into the van, slamming the passenger's door behind him. Linda drove away down the street at high speed, the tires screaming, and she turned the corner. After a few minutes, she slowed down. Soon she was driving carefully towards the Ship Hotel by the river. John got out of the van and the hotel, and Linda drove on till she came to the Red Lion. Frankie Simpson was waiting for her at the pub. It was 10 to 3, and in the morning, and there was nobody in the street. Frankie helped Linda to get the jewelry into the building. Then the two of them began to check the items of jewelry against the list that Linda had already given Frankie. It was a long job and it took them nearly 2 hours. Linda kept some of the jewelry. A few pieces she wanted to wear it herself. The others she would sell later, when she and John had escaped to Spain. While Linda had a dream, Frankie Simpson began separating and repacking the jewelry, ready for his men to deliver to other fences in London, Birmingham, and Manchester. 2 days, Frankie said. You will have your money in 2 days, okay? Right, said Linda. I'll meet you here on Friday evening. Come at around 5 o'clock, Frankie said. It will be here. I will be here, said Linda. When Linda finally got home, it was almost 6 o'clock. She went to bed for a while, but at 7:30 she was up again. She had to go to work. Linda arrived at Sandals at 10 to 9, as she did every morning to Friday. 2 police cars were parked nearby. Linda walked into the shop trying to look surprised. The other staff members were already there. They were standing together, talking. Uniformed police officers were examining the broken display cabinets. Mr. Rowe was talking to a police inspector who was wearing a raincoat. Linda walked over to her colleagues. What's happened here? She said, looking around the shop. And when did it happen? We think some thieves got in through the skylight in the middle of the night, one of them replied. They smashed the glass and the lock and they forced open the bars of the grill. Are there any clues that will help the police to identify the thieves? Linda asked quietly. A well-organized gang. That's what the police think, the colleague replied. There must have been several thieves, and they must have worked fast. They broke in at 2:05. That's when the alarm bell started ringing, and they had gone when the police arrived at a 2:15. The manager finished speaking to the police inspector. He came over to Linda and her colleagues. The police have asked us not to touch anything here until they have checked for fingerprints, Mr. Rose said. And they will talk to each of you to see if you know anything that, of course, might help them. Perhaps someone will make coffee for us all. You will be in my office. I will be in my home. One of the policemen came to talk to Linda. He asked if she had any ideas about who the thieves were, and he asked where she had been the previous evening. But Mr. Rose had told the police officer that Linda's husband had recently died, and the man questioned her very gently. When she said that she had been alone at home the previous night, the officer thanked her politely and went on to talk to someone else. Linda made lots of coffee. She gave some to her colleagues and to the police officer. Then she took a cup of the manager's office. Mr. Rose was talking on the phone to the shop's insurance company. Linda put the coffee on his desk. She was about to leave the room when the manager finished his phone call. Linda, there is no need for you to stay here, he said. The shop will be closed for a few days, I expect. Since you are leaving at the end of the week anyway, you might as well finish work now. I expect you have a lot to do before you move to Scotland. That's very good of you, Mr. Rose, Linda said. I am very busy. There is a lot of packing and cleaning to do at the house. Are you going back to Glasgow immediately? Yes, Linda replied. I've been lonely in London since John's death. I need to move away. The sooner the better. Do you need any help? The manager asked. I could send one of the others to help you if you want. No, I can manage, Linda said, but thanks anyway. We'll miss you, Mr. Rose said. We'll miss both of you. John was a good man and a hard worker. Linda looked down for a moment. Yes, she said. A few minutes later, Linda left Sandwalls for the last time. She walked through the shop, stepping over pieces of broken glass, and out into the street. And that is how this chapter ends. I hope you enjoyed this story, this chapter, and we're going to see in the next one what happened with the police about this situation. See you.